This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we are on.
What is up? Certified Wrestling Podcast, episode number 6. You know it. I'm your host, Certified Hustler, co-host Bob B. D. And then my main man, BFF in the business world, Big Texan. What's up, Tex?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. I'm doing better now. I was out last week. I just got out of the hospital about 15 minutes ago. They said Joe Galli was going to be on the podcast, so I hurried up home. Joe, I was just hooked up to an IV machine and getting blood work and thought I was dying and heard you were going to be on the podcast tonight, so I had to hurry home.
I'm glad they didn't take too much out with the lobotomy. You know, sometimes they can go a little too far, and then you really need to wear the cowboy hat to cover up with the missing bits and pieces that are up there.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. For the folks that don't know, I'm kind of jealous. I watched the missed episode of my own podcast last week, episode 5. Certified Wrestling Podcast is built off this. My name is Certified Hustler. I own the trademark. It's registered. It's a brand. And these two gentlemen that co-host the show with me are actual professional wrestlers. So, Certified Wrestling Podcast just makes sense. That's why we went with it. What do you think of that name, Joe?
Oh, it's great. It stands out. It's different. I mean, I think the problem that you guys have, and with all you guys that are so, involved in these podcasts about pro wrestling, is it is so vast. There's so many people doing it. And then you have to compete with people like Jim Cornette or Colt Cabana and all these people that have been doing it for years and are established. And then you have to compete with like Maria Menounos had her AfterBuzz shows that I knew people that worked for there. And so there's so much out there as far as not just wrestling content, but all of the stuff talking about wrestling content. So my hat is off to you guys to try to really break into this environment. But I think what you got going for you is you're inviting us in from the National Wrestling Alliance, and the world's talking about us. So when you start putting that, you're talking to people like Trevor, Murdoch, myself. I'm sure you got other folks that are going to be lined up as well. I think that's going to help drive people to your podcast over a lot of the other podcasts out there. So I think you're definitely for episode 6, you're starting off guns a-blazing.
Sir, you are number 1 NWA guest, number 1. We've had legendary Herb Simmons as a guest. We've guested these two gentlemen right here are legends in the area. Big Texan is a legend of over 20 years. They're actually brother-in-laws, these two gentlemen. And so what we're doing is we are setting off a blaze. We have 5 NWA. For the next 5 weeks, we have an NWA personnel doing our podcast.
That's fantastic.
And we are with you. When you said that the NWA is on top of the world and everybody's talking about you, you are not lying, my friend. You are not lying. We are St. Louis, born, bred, and raised, okay? And when we say St. Louis is the mecca of professional wrestling, we truly believe that, okay? I had the opportunity to see Joe Galli at 2 pay-per-views in St. Louis, Empower, and I also saw you at NWA 73. Am I correct?
Yeah, I was there for both of them, and I remember you.
Right.
He's hard to forget.
That's good or bad. It depends. If Billy and I were talking right now, I don't know if it would be good or bad. I don't know. Some like me, some hate me. Trevor doesn't like me right now.
I guess you haven't got that restraining order yet.
That what?
Billy hasn't sent you that restraining order yet.
Oh, man. We shook hands. NWA is so on fire right now. I'm not just saying this because SICW and Attila Khan are in the World Championship match for the most prestigious championship title ever created in this wrestling world, okay? I'm not just saying it because of that. The NWA was my first love. Before I become a member of the SICW, and I'll speed you up. I just became a member of the SICW 7 weeks ago, Joe, probably less than that. Done some amazing things in 7 weeks. But the NWA brought me to the party, okay? The greatest wrestler God ever put on his green earth, Harley Race, from St. Louis. We have 5 or 6 guys on our roster, current roster, that are trained by Harley Race. You know what I mean? And with what's going on with SICW with your guy and the NWA with your guys being trained by Harley Race, and everything that's happening in St. Louis with WWE coming here in January, doing the Royal Rumble, with NWA starting Empower and NWA 73 in St. Louis, with AEW coming in last week and was supposed to do that pay-per-view here, instead switched it to Minneapolis. St. Louis is hot, and NWA is the top of that mountain of the volcano, the hot volcano. It's NWA. That's what you hear everybody in St. Louis talking about, including my two gentlemen here that are on SICW rosters.
Hey, the NWA, I mean, they're the hotbed right now. I mean, they're working with so many companies, AEW, AAA, Impact. I mean, you're going to be the force that's going to be out there that everyone's going to be looking at, and comparing everything to. So, I mean,
You can't
hats off to you
discount
guys
the
for what you're
history,
doing
too.
right now.
NWA is more than just today, too. Like, how many years? Like, NWA has been around forever, inspiring as long as I can ever remember people.
Right.
My best.
47, right, Joe?
What was that, James?
1947.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the lineage that the NWA has, it goes back so far, and there's such a rich history, and there's so many iconic figures that you think of with the National Wrestling Alliance. Your Ric Flairs, Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, Nikita Koloff. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. And St. Louis was a hotbed for a lot of those big matches there at the Chase. And really, throughout the South particularly, and really all over the world, the NWA has had a huge impact, whether that's in Japan or Puerto Rico or anywhere else throughout the country. And I feel like you guys aren't alone in that. You kind of you were born in the right time to have that be the major influence on you as far as professional wrestling goes. And there's so many folks like yourself that respect that lineage and respect that history, to where that you live it today with two professional wrestlers that are here on this podcast. And I think that that's one of the great things that we have going for us with the National Wrestling Alliance is we have all of that history, and we're going to bring you folks along. But what we're doing now in what a lot of people like to call the Lightning One era with Billy Corgan is we're trying to open a door to a lot of folks out there that are either semi-casual wrestling fans or people who maybe aren't wrestling fans at all. And so that's what we're trying, and especially with our next set of tapings that we're having in Atlanta with our pay-per-view Hard Times 2, December 4th. You can pre-order now. Tickets still available if you'd like to go. But we're also having a new show. We're having a brand new show, and I can't share a whole lot of details about it at this point, but you're going to see a lot of new talent that's going to be a part of it there. And, I can't give you any spoilers, largely because I don't know a lot of them because they all stay in Billy Corgan's head. But, I mean, if you take a look at the landscape of professional wrestling right now, and I'm sure y'all, you don't have to read the dirt sheets to know what's going on. But there's a lot of available talent that's, wants to work and they want to be a part of this brand. And they weren't able to up until recently. So
Absolutely.
you could probably expect to see a lot of that talent there. And, it was a really a big shock for a lot of people to see the tag team of the OGK By Any Means Necessary. And now they're the ROH World Tag Team Champions, and they'll be defending those championships at Hard Times 2 against Aaron Stevens and Kratos. So that's one of the blockbuster matches that we have.
News? Is that breaking news, Joe?
Well, it is to you guys. This is why I'm going to ask anybody watching this podcast right now. We just had a video that was uploaded, hosted by our own William Patrick Corgan, and he went over the entire card that we have for Hard Times 2. And so that match will take place on December 4th. On Fight TV, on pay-per-view. And we're also bringing back the Junior Heavyweight Championship as well. So there's
Kevin Frazier. Sorry, I told you Kevin Frazier was the ex-Junior Heavyweight Champion. I know him. He owes me $1,000. We just bet 2 days ago. Sorry, Joe.
Well, I'm glad you made some money. I can see why you got excited. I'd be excited for 1,000 clients too.
Frazier is right.
Bring it back to me for the folks that don't know.
Kevin Frazier. He's my buddy. Kevin Frazier was a great junior heavyweight champion. He held it for over a year. He hosts, Jay Cal, right, from the Wrestling Alliance. He's the host. He's the host with Jay Cal.
Oh, okay.
He's his professional wrestler.
So what's great about that is we're also incorporating a lot of people that, typically might not be in the title hunt for the heavyweight championship. And we're giving them another avenue and another opportunity to hold gold in the National Wrestling Alliance. And so that's really going to open a lot of doors, especially for some of our competitors that people know and love, our Colby Carinos and our Sal Renaro and Jeremiah Plunkett and folks like that. But we are also having folks like Austin Aries, who's going to be coming in and trying to put his hand on that belt as well. So we're really reaching out and we're finding all kinds of new talent there. And honestly, I'm a little intimidated by the card for Hard Times 2 just as the lead commentator, because I've got to go through that whole thing, and I don't know if my voice can handle it because there is a lot of matches.
There is a lot of matches.
It's a lot.
Can you go over that card for me?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
There's a lot, so I'll try to remember some stuff off the top of my head. Scion versus Tyrus for the NWA World Television Championship, of which there is no time limit, no disqualification, and Pope will be our special guest referee.
All right.
There is a grudge match between Nick Aldis and Tom Latimer, and by decree from William Patrick Corrigan, no seconds will be allowed at ringside, so it's got to be one-on-one. And if for any reason there is a disqualification in that matchup, both men will be suspended from the National Wrestling Alliance for 8 weeks.
Okay.
So it behooves them to follow the rules and have a contest to where that would not end in disqualification. Because we've seen it before, actually, really from the history of both these men, particularly Tom Latimer as of late, getting that big pile driver on a steel chair. These are two incredible athletes, and they'll really push the envelope. Our NWA World Women's Tag Team Championship, the champions, the Hex, will be defending in a triple threat matchup. And I'm trying to remember Kylie Ray and Tootie Lynn is one team.
And then Lady Frost. And
a woman who's debuting. Yes, is also so that'll be a very interesting triple threat matchup. We know that Trevor Murdoch will be defending the NWA World Heavyweight Championship if he's still holding on to it. He'll be defending that championship against Mike Knox. Savagely beat him inside the steel cage. So if a lot of your fans want to catch up on everything that's happening here, number one, I would say that they should subscribe to us on Fight.
Right.
We're it's a subscription-based service there. It's $5 a month. It's worth every penny, if not more so. I'm one of those guys that sometimes I like a fancy coffee. I went to Starbucks today and spent more money on that on just one cup of coffee. Yep. So for that, you're going to get 4 weeks of action every week. It's Tuesday at 6:05. And that'll help you catch up on all of the things that are developing and going to. Mickie James will be in action. She is our Impact champion, women's champion. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if the title's going to be on the line for that or not, but I think that's some things that are still being ironed out with our folks over at Impact Wrestling. And our NWA World Tag Team Championships will be defended. The End went through a grueling tag team tournament. 7 other teams. Their last matchup with Hawk Sari might be one of the best tag team matches I've seen in quite a while. But they're going to be going toe-to-toe with La Rebellion, who have been, a lot of our champions, they ferociously defend those championships in several other promotions, and that includes La Rebellion taking those championships down to Mexico and defending them there. So and that's a real clash of styles right there, and styles make fights. And you've got these two big powerhouses in the End with Odinson and Pero, and they're going to have to go toe-to-toe with these luchadors, which will be flying all over the place. But it's not like your typical luchadors. These guys are built, and they're strong, and they're tough guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to have to change their game plans to see if they can retain those championships. There's other action as well.
Do they remind you of the Road Warriors?
They do. They do. There's a lot of similarities that you see there, and I think that that's very positive because what you're going to have is you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be gravitated towards that. It's one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of deals. And it's not one of those things where it's specifically people would look at them and go, oh, they're just ripping off the Road Warriors. And they're their own tag team. They've developed themselves, especially through all the battles that they've had in Japan. And they're incredible athletes and they're incredible characters. And I think people are really going to be drawn to them as athletes and as individuals too. I mean, Perro has been all over the place, being the daddy bear of the death match with all of these crazy matches with Effie and light bulbs and barbed wire. And that guy's just a glutton for punishment. So like, how do you go and you want to fight a guy who's, 6'8", over 300 pounds and likes to be in barbed wire? That's I don't want to deal with that.
He likes to fly too.
Yeah, he likes everything, and he'll take you out. And our NWA World Women's Championship will be defended. Camille going toe to toe with Melina. Melina's held pretty much every championship under the sun that a woman can hold, and the thing that's eluded her is the NWA World Women's Championship, and that could change on December 4th at Hard Times 2. And also, we're going to be doing something very touching, and this is very important to me. We're going to be giving an amazing tribute to the career of the Phenom Jazz.
Oh, okay.
I've been working with Jazz for a long time out here in San Antonio, helping coach at her dojo, at the Dog Pound Dojo here, the premier place in the San Antonio area to learn to be a professional wrestler. And Rodney Max, and I would expect to see him in action during the sets of tapings as well.
Really?
So I would expect to see. Well, they're married. It'd be weird just to invite one of them, right? You and Nick travel together. That'd be weird. Like, Rodney, you stay home. We don't want you, big bruising dude.
I asked Jazz. I said, "Why isn't Rodney here?" He's at the dojo. Somebody's got to be there. I'm like, you guys got people that can take care of that for a few minutes.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't expect to see him on the Friday show because, of course, you might want to save him for something special for the pay-per-view. I don't know. So, like I said, a lot of stuff is kind of going through the mind of Billy Corgan, and it's going to be interesting to see all of it. But, I mean, it is just a barn burner of all these different matches. I'll be on the call for those folks who can't make it to Atlanta. You'll be watching on Fight TV, and it'll be me and Velvet Sky and Tim Storm on commentary. And that's going to be well, and I wouldn't be surprised if we'll get some special guests, because we typically do. And you saw that at Empower, and you saw that at NWA 73. We get plenty of folks that come to the desk and join the broadcast team even temporarily. So you might see a little Austin Idol. Wouldn't surprise me.
What about Conrad?
Conrad could be back too. There's a lot of balls that are still in the air. December 4th is close. We're getting real near to it, but you know how wrestling goes. We just got to see how it all, folds out.
See what's going on with Trevor Murdoch and Attila Khan on the 1st, right? You see all these companies doing the Forbidden Door opening. What is your take of SICW and NWA, the Forbidden Door being opening? Like, we're not your typical door to be open per se, because we're a small, what you guys would say, not NWA, but AEW and WWE fans would say small, but we just sold 1,723 tickets in our indie show last weekend. I don't think we're too small. You know what I mean? And the weekend before we did 800 tickets, So what do you think more opportunities for people like us should exist with NWA and AEW and WWE? Or do you think the buck just stops where it stops?
I think independent wrestling is red hot right now. And so I would see a lot of promotions being able to bring people in. And that's a challenge that all media and all entertainment has at this point, is trying to get people to come and pay money to do something. There's an awful lot of stuff that people can do right now for free. There's an awful lot of people that could just sit at home and watch Netflix all day or go on TikTok. And there's a lot of competition out there. But at the same time, there is an intense hunger for people to be able to go and watch live professional wrestling. And if you're
Absolutely.
offering something that's going to be convenient, whether it's with you guys or it's with, if you, for instance, here in the San Antonio area, there are several different promotions that are competing out here. And you could choose to go to one, you could choose to go to all, and they're all going to have different flavors and different things. And, I'll be partial to, Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, me being a part of it as their current ring announcer. Also for RCW being their commentator here. And I would imagine that you would probably see a lot of cross-pollination with a lot of the talent that would be there. It's not past people like Brandon Oliver, who runs RCW. We already had Camille. We already had Tom Latimer on that show. It wouldn't surprise me if they also tried to get Trevor Murdoch or The End or La Rebellion or any of these other talents that have contracts with the NWA. So I think what's really happening right now, especially with the current explosion of talent, and even without that, it's still red hot, but now people are going to see wrestlers that they probably wanted to see and maybe really didn't get a chance. And I'll use an example here with WWE. If you take a look at a guy like Drake Maverick, I don't know if you guys saw what he posted on Twitter earlier today. He had this amazing video that he posted about him and talking to himself after being fired. And it's red hot. And I would love for him to be a part of the junior heavyweight title tournament. And it's possible that he could be. And so that would be red hot.
Size to him, so yeah.
He's the perfect size for it. The guy can wrestle. It's impeccable. He has great character. People, love him or they love to hate him.
I love him.
He knows how to work in this business. And so it's exciting. It's exciting that we're for everyone. And, even for instance, tomorrow I'll be heading off to Conroe for Mission Pro Wrestling, which is Thunder Rosa's promotion.
Yes.
And she's wrestling and she has this crazy stipulation that loser gets tattooed or something with Dave LaGreca. It's crazy. I don't know what's happening. They're bringing in a tattoo artist. It's the craziest gimmick I've ever seen. But it's in a brewery. It's a great venue, and I did commentary for them, but that was kind of a last ditch thing because it is a women's promotion. I think they want to focus on having women doing the vast majority of the work there. They have a couple of men's matches as well, but they want to focus on giving women a chance and a venue and a place that they can wrestle and really show that their skills as professional wrestlers. And it'll be an honor for me just to be there, to help produce, to help agent promos and things like that. And so I'm excited for that too. And it's at a brewery, and I don't know if I'll make it to the main event.
I want to know what the tattoo is going to be.
I think what it is, and I could be wrong here, and this is because I've been so underwater with NWA stuff, but I believe the loser's going to get a tattoo of the other one. So LaGreca has another wrestler who's going to be representing him. If Thunder Rosa wins, he has to get a tattoo of Thunder Rosa on his body. And if the other competitor representing him, and I'm killing myself because I can't remember the name, but I can see the face. But if she wins and Thunder Rosa loses, she's going to get a LaGreca tattoo. So that's going to be an interesting turn of events there. So I've never been to a wrestling show where someone is going to get tattooed in front of people. That's usually a lengthy process too. It makes me wonder if that'll be the first match, so that someone could just be getting a tattoo the whole time. So
hey
Joe,
next to the table. On a side note, like besides all the cards and all the shows that you've done, I'm going to take it back. How did you get involved in wrestling?
Well, forever ago, everyone starts as a fan. We all start that way, and I was of that age where SmackDown was just coming to television, and we didn't have cable, so that was all I got to watch because it was on Fox at the time, or UPN, maybe UPN it started on. But so I started watching there, that Attitude Era sort of thing. It gets you hooked, and then you had friends, and we did backyard wrestling stuff that they tell you not to do, and then you do anyways. And people get hurt. It's not great. But then my friend Brandon Taylor, who currently works for New Japan Pro Wrestling and wrestles on the independent scene as Robert Baines. If you guys are looking for a big, scary powerhouse, I recommend booking him.
What's his name?
But Robert Baines, you can find him
B-A-I-N-E-S?
at Baines.
I'll look him up.
And you could find him, and he's currently on the West Coast with New Japan. He's a producer with them, and he's incredible athlete. He was a champion over with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood as their tag champion, as their heritage champion, and he found
Can
it.
you
This is
put
going to
information in my DMs or Big Texans DMs?
Sure, of course. So what was I going to say? Oh, so he found an ad in a actual physical newspaper.
Wow.
Really? Ooh. For a 2-for-1 coupon for a wrestling school, which was in Van Nuys, California at the time.
Nice.
The trainers there were Brawlin' Bo Cooper, who I believe has since retired, Ryan Katz, who currently works in operations with WWE, and later on it was you would know him as Ricardo Rodriguez.
Okay.
And who is oh yes, but he's such an exquisite luchador. He's been traveling to Egypt and training people there, and I think he's by far one of the best trainers walking the earth today, and
Wow.
And one of the best wrestlers out there. I mean, if you could book him, he brings in people and he can steal the show with whatever you need him to do. But so I just got there and I took my first bump, and then I was addicted to it from then. And then, I worked a bunch of spot shows and, a lot of what, my former commentary partner, Jim Cornette, would say, outlaw mud shows. And I wasn't a particularly good wrestler, but then also my journalism career started. And so I ended up taking a job for the NBC affiliate in Toledo, Ohio, which the call letters are WNWO. So how perfect is that for the wrestling guy?
Right.
So I worked some shows out there, and then I worked my way back to the West Coast, and I got an opportunity to do commentary with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And I just kind of started there. And then, so Dave Marquez really got me started in doing the broadcast area of the business, the television area of the business. And that's where I met Billy Corgan. And at the time, Tim Storm was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. This is before Nick got the strap off of him. And just pulled me aside, and he's like, "Hey, we're doing this thing. I've got the NWA, and I want you to be our lead announcer." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I had no idea it would lead to what we're doing here. Because, back at that time, I mean, they were uploading videos to YouTube, and there was some Twitter. There was buzz around it. They went to China to defend the championship. It was Cabana versus Nick Aldis, which is a fantastic match that I got to call. Unfortunately, not from China. I didn't make the trip. I dubbed it over.
Oh, wow.
But still,
that's
that's a fun
on its
match.
own right there.
Yeah, I think it's probably on YouTube or something like that. You could probably find it.
It's
but
on YouTube.
Yeah, so it's a good match, and it's in front of a crowd that really had never seen wrestling before. I mean, the Chinese audience, that's another, and I think that's what WWE is really trying to push themselves into, are all these virgin territories with 1 billion people that, whether it's in India or China or places like that, the States and Japan, we know what wrestling is. You go to these other places and you have to try to translate, and so people who went to that show in China, they thought they were going to see Kung Fu. So it's very different, and so they were very surprised, but they loved it too at the same time. So it's really diversifying what pro wrestling is doing. And for people out there that were thinking, "Oh, wrestling's dead, it's just WWE, no one else is going on," I think organizations like yours and organizations like Tony Khan's and organizations like the NWA are proving that that's not the case at all. And so there's a lot of people out there that are working, that are making money, and I think at the end of the day that we're also entertaining people and making really, I think, important memories. I wish that when I was younger, my dad or my older brother was into wrestling, would have brought me to some of these independent shows, and maybe I would have gotten into it sooner. Because we do these shows here in San Antonio, and I see these kids coming, and they're 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. And they're having the best time, and you can tell they're screaming, they're on their feet. And I'm like, that kid is having the best day of his life.
My
Granted,
daughter's
his
not
life has only been, his life's only been this long, and he'll have better lives, better days later on. But at this moment, that child's having the best day of their life. And then
right.
you can't put a price on that. That's incredible. And so I'm honored to be a part of those small memories, those moments that I think that are really important. And maybe that kid will one day become the NWA World Heavyweight Champion because he went to that show, because he thought it was so entertaining.
Let me ask you this.
Correct.
Since you've been back in it and doing it since the COVID restrictions lifted up, we've had a few pay-per-views and a few live shows, right? The NWA. I say we. I'm part of the NWA fam. What was your best experience? Which one? Like, what was your biggest experience? Would it be in Empower? Because that room to me was lightning on Empower. I was in both 73 and Empower, and by any means necessary. And I'll be in Atlanta. But out of those three, I think those are the three ones that have been back since the COVID, right?
Yeah, we also did we had another trip down in Atlanta as well. That was in the smaller studio because we got to make episodes. But I would say the Empower set the bar so high, and I feel like 73 met that bar. And it's almost a blur because there's so much that you guys know. There's so much that goes into a production like that.
I was there from it, Joe.
Yeah. So like, and all the days leading up to it and all the work that we got put in, and in my mind, it all just kind of it kind of melds together, a lot of it, to be fair. And so I'd have to say just that weekend in itself was just so magical. And you know what else, thinking about it too, and just kind of going back to where the state of independent professional wrestling out there, major national brands are realizing what's going on and what's happening, even on the independent scene. And so that's why we have sponsors like Car Shield and Busch Beer and T-Mobile. And we're going to get more. And it's when you have those, I think that's something that maybe was lacking 5-10 years ago is, people see that brand and they kind of equate things in their brain. They it's a big deal because this is attached. You know what I mean? Right. And so when they come in and they see that, Anheuser-Busch sees value in us, then they're like, oh, then this is kind of a big deal. And then they tell their coworker, and then they tell their friend, and their friend tells their kid about it. And then they get Fight TV, and then it just snowballs from there. And it gets more people interested. And I think we are geared up to have an incredible 2022 with the National Wrestling Alliance. Right. We're going to be traveling more. We're going to be going to more places. I feel like Atlanta will most likely still kind of be a hub for us, but it also wouldn't surprise me to be in a position to where we do a pay-per-view, let's say on a Saturday and I'm just saying this randomly as an example, a place like Charlotte, North Carolina, and then after the pay-per-view, we head back down to Atlanta for the studio to use the studio to do power tapings. Because we're making enough money to do it, and we can afford to bring those people in. And so we can afford to have all options to us. And I think that's what's really lacking too. So I think we're going to have a lot of doors that are really going to open. I feel like we're going to have a lot of people that are going to be more interested in the NWA. And we're also going to have a lot more talent that's going to be coming into the NWA because there's more people who are available and they're people that people want to see. And so it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a good 2022. And I really can't wait to, hop on this roller coaster and see where it goes.
What is your prediction for, let's just say it's Trevor Murdoch and Mike Knox at Hard Times at your company. What's your prediction?
I've known Mike Knox for a long time. And I don't think people understand just how big and ruthless that dude is. He is a monster.
And that's Trevor.
And he demolished Trevor in that steel cage. And I don't know, the cameras didn't get a good angle of it, but he shoved his kid to the ground. And I think that's what Trevor's going to probably remember more than the beatdown, because Trevor ain't no stranger to beatdowns. So when you got a man He's not only defending the championship that he's fought his entire life for, but he's also doing it for the pride and the love of his family and of his son. That's an insane amount of motivation. That is a locomotive with dynamite on the front of it coming to you at full speed. And
it's
so
like
even
that
though
for any parent.
yeah, exactly. I feel like that would motivate him even more than just defending the championship, which should be motivation enough for Trevor Murdoch. But when you compound it with the fact that he hurt his son.
Yeah.
And Trevor Murdoch's used to taking an ass kicking, but you don't hurt some dude's kid. And so I think that's what's going to be in the forefront. And so it's going to be a crazy match, but you always bet on the champ to retain. That's something I've learned. You always bet on the champ to retain, but it's also the National Wrestling Alliance, and you never know what's going to happen, and you never know who's going to show up, and you never know exactly what plans. Nobody knew Mike Knox was going to be there and going to lock the cage behind him. That was insane. So
right, just like nobody knows that's going to be Attila Khan versus Mike Knox.
That would sell tickets too. And so that's the great thing too. It's great. That's the other thing from a promoter's angle is as somebody who's, in the office or whatever, there's always the hesitation to take your world champion and let them go to other promotions unless they're going to get quality competition. Because not only does Trevor Murdoch represent the National Wrestling Alliance, whoever may usurp him now becomes that person that represents the National Wrestling Alliance.
Right.
You can't just send him to any, and I'll go back to this phrase again, outlaw mud show, where he's going to fight Billy Bob, the guy with 11 toes. You got to get that. And you guys have brought some incredible competition for him. And, Trevor Murdoch will be taken to the limit at that show. And then keep in mind, what was that date? What's the date for the show?
The first.
So 3 days later, if Trevor Murdoch is successful, he's got to defend that championship on pay-per-view. And that's the challenge of being the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, you could listen to if you go, especially online right now, and listen to all those great Ric Flair promos, it's all about that. It's all about, I defended the championship, I got on the plane, and I defended it again. And then I got on the plane, and I defended it again, and then I went to party. It's all of that. So that's really the cross that you have to bear as the champion.
That's how you fix out that moolah, nephew.
Yeah. And, that's not to besmirch the other champions and other companies that might defend the title less, because they also do a lot of work. I mean, people say, the WWE, they don't defend that. They only defend it at the pay-per-view. They're still working a lot. And now with COVID kind of hopefully a bit in the rearview mirror, they're going to be doing house shows again. And you'll see those guys that are still working. And it's a grind for them too, even if the title's not on the line. And so, every time you go out there and the bell rings, you put your life on the line and you put your career on the line. So,
Jackson, how many surgeries? How many surgeries?
Oh, yeah. He's trying to promote me up, but it's all right. I have another question for you, Joe. Since Tim Storm was, doing commentating with you for a while, and then he stepped back into the ring, is there
a Joe Galli match?
No.
That was very quick.
That's insane. Are you crazy?
Hey,
no.
Tim Storm over to SICW.
Bring your title back.
I will say I am undefeated at Mission Pro Wrestling. I did have one match there with a local morning show radio DJ.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah. Well, he challenged me, and I stepped up, and nothing better than the schoolboy. You can just get right in there, get real deep, get the 1, 2, 3, and you get out.
That's it.
That's
so
it.
No,
a victory's a victory. No. There's nothing there. Not especially, But I think I'm at a point where I'm very healthy, and I want to keep it that way. And you got to know when your bump card's kind of filled up, and mine filled up early because I was doing stupid things that you shouldn't do. So for all the kids out there, you know, remember that you want to have a long career. Don't want to burn out like a firecracker.
The Miz doesn't take bumps. That's why the Miz lasts so long.
Yeah, and it's about taking the right bumps. And
yeah, I was gonna say it's the right bumps,
it's
not really
there's a lot to it. Don't be dumb. And
doesn't take bumps. That's why he's never hurt.
Yeah, and you just really need to know how to control yourself too. I mean, you could have a career like Ric Flair that lasted forever, you know, or even guys like Tim Storm that's still wrestling, you know, and that itch has not gone for him. You know, he wants to be in the ring, and I think that's the thing that he struggles with. He loves being the color commentator, but at the same point, and you two guys will know for sure, you're sitting right there and you're like, I want to be in there. That's where I'm supposed to be. That's where I feel alive. And I don't have that same feeling. I'm more than happy to sit here and get to
enjoy
paycheck and not bleed. Yeah. I'll get up in the morning, feel great, go for a little 5K run, feel good.
Oh.
Yeah. My knees still work. Those are great, you know? So it's
all right. So
feel like 5 different things pop.
Yeah, it takes me a good 10, 15 minutes just all the joints to start lubricating again and start being able to walk straight, not hunched over. Or it's crazy, but
but you love it.
I love it.
That's the thing is you become addicted to it, you know, to professional wrestling, and there's a lot of people that are just addicted to it from being a fan. And certainly people, once you get in there, that it becomes part of your life. And even the people that step away from it, you know, it always seems to draw people back in one way or another. And and I think that's the beauty of it. And I think that's maybe why it's such a popular thing. You know, on paper, maybe it is something that could have disappeared as soon as the cat was out of the bag and there's no more kayfabe or whatever you want to say. But, you know, theoretically that should be the death of it, but it's not. And because it's just this beautiful sport, and I think people appreciate it, and they appreciate the spectacle, and they appreciate the rugged toughness that it takes to do it.
Right.
Yes.
So that's the thing.
Personal scene. I respect it 100 times more by being there. I'm in the locker room with these guys. I see them like they're hurting. I respect it, you know?
Yeah. They're sacrificing a lot to entertain people. And to make money. but there's
always a little bonus.
Well, there's always a long time too where you're not making very much money, if any money. Sometimes you're spending money because, you know, and I'm sure you guys know, you out on the road, you're going to drive 800 miles to make $25 on a hot dog. You know,
right.
And when you're first starting out, that's how you pay your dues. And eventually, if you're good enough and you're dedicated enough, you get better enough, and then you get to be NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So.
There you go. All day long. I try to tell people that to this day. Take my $25 I'm giving you and be quiet. No,
just want to toss it back to the pay-per-view. So I think what we missed was Chris, the masterpiece, Chris Adonis. He's got a match there too.
That's right, defending the NWA National Championship against Judas, who will have the sinister minister, Father James Mitchell, in his corner, which everyone knows who he is now, thanks to Dark Side of the Ring. I mean, there's between him and our friend Luke Hawx over on Heels with Stars. I mean, that's the amazing thing. We've got all these crazy guys that are in so many different places, and that's bringing a lot of interesting people into us too. And here's the other thing too, and I don't know, I don't think he gets enough credit for it, but Tyrus, our NWA World Television Champion, as a correspondent for Fox News on Gutfeld, which is it's the highest rated cable program, and he's wearing the strap. Yeah, and he's wearing that strap in front of millions of Americans. And some of those Americans that maybe have never bought a pay-per-view are going to get hard times too to watch him fight Scion. So it's crazy the amount of talent that we have on our roster and all the crazy cool stuff that they do.
I don't know what else here. Oh, Doug Williams.
Oh, Doug. I can't believe I forgot Doug Williams. Oh, my God. Coming back to in-ring action with the NWA. That's going to be fantastic.
Right.
Who?
He's going against, was it Colby?
Colby Carino. That's going to be a barn burner. That's going to be a barn burner of a match.
Tell him who Colby is, Joe. Tell him
Well,
who
Steve
Colby.
Carino. Steve Carino, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Steve Carino. I think a lot of people know who that is. And you see so much of the shades of his father in him, but he's got this whole different flavor to him.
Yes,
and
sir.
there's a viciousness to him that he is just he is just a badass MFer. And like, I wouldn't want to cross him. And just the feud that he had with Sal Rinauro recently.
Yes.
You know, that guy's got future champion tattooed all over him, other than his other tattoos. And if you think about it, you know, where the junior heavyweight championship, that could be something that he probably wants. And it would be great to see him have that strap. I think that would bring in a lot of people, and I'm sure he's willing to get it.
I believe that too. The rumor in the street in St. Louis is, am I allowed to say rumors? Because we don't have any knowledge of what's going on in NWA. We're SICW. So if I heard a rumor, do you mind if I say it?
What is it?
The rumor is this. The rumor in the streets is the Crockett Cup's coming back in February.
I don't know if that's true or not. I hope it's true. I really do. It makes sense if you take a look at the timeline and COVID kind of everything up. But I would love the Crockett Cup.
Galli, I break news.
I would love it. I would love it. I hope it's true. I hope it's true. Because honestly, well, there you go. There we go. Now I know. And knowing is half the battle. Go, Joe.
You know my nickname? I'm the SICW roving reporter.
There it is. That's a good journalist right there. You got to get those break. I would have led with that. I would have started the podcast. That's the only thing. That's my only note as an Emmy Award-winning broadcast journalist. Let's front load that so we can talk about the Crockett Cup. And here, well, take a look at this too. If you take a look at the Crockett Cup and all the tag teams that we currently have in the NWA, you can see that we already have relationships with Ring of Honor.
SICW.
And, you know, and all these other great tag teams that are out there, we can start bringing in a lot of people that maybe it'll be a lot of dream matches that people have never seen, you know? I mean, theoretically, we work with the ROH. Maybe the Briscoes could come by to that. I don't know. People seem to like them, you know, maybe some of our friends over at All Elite Wrestling, maybe a group like, who would fit well? Maybe an FTR.
Or
something like that would be great. I mean, could you imagine how cool would it be theoretically if we had FTR versus the Briscoes at the Crockett Cup?
Dope. Dude, I'd
dope
buy
as shit
for all of my guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's just a theory. That's just a thought.
The guy that got the name front row. We might have to fight him front row tickets too.
Oh no, he'll definitely be there. I love front row. He's a good dude.
Fight for these front row tickets, Galli. We're the first ones on there fighting for them.
Well, that's what's great. It's a row, not a seat. You know, you don't have to fight. There's a whole row. There's usually at least three. Because we gotta have room for the ramp.
I'll just throw one more out there. One more big name. Mick Foley.
Oh, that's right. Hardcore legend Mick Foley. You know, I had an amazing opportunity. You know, sometimes when you're working in news in a place, things just fall in your lap. In San Antonio, we have our version of Comic-Con. It's the San Antonio Comic-Con, and we get all kinds of celebrities to come on through, and they need panelists to just interview people. And it was just before the pandemic. They were like, "Hey, we got this guy, Mick Foley. You want to interview him for an hour and a half?" And I was like,
"Oh,
yes."
Damn.
So I got to sit with him and a huge crowd, probably 1,000 people that filled the San Antonio Convention Center, and it was great. It was great just having a great chat with him. One of the highlights of my life, as I mentioned, Attitude Era, growing up. You know, Mick Foley. I loved him. You know, watching him go off the Hell in a Cell and all that and becoming a world champion. And, I've always loved the promos and the Kane Dewey promo. Like, it makes me cry to this day, like that sort of stuff. So that was great. And then also this year I did an interview with Lita, which was fun. What an incredible woman she is. And like, all the crazy stuff that she's done in her life in and out of wrestling. I'd love to see her in an NWA ring. But so yeah, I'm looking forward to having Mick back, and I know he's looking forward to being there. And I don't think we have any hardcore matches, but we have some no disqualification matches. So I don't know.
Is that a little hint?
Interesting. It'll be interesting to see what he would do. I don't know if he's just going to come out and say hi to folks, or I don't know.
See if he slaps
Mick
the ball on somebody.
Mick likes to, likes to
do. Tex, is Mick Foley going to be at Hard Times too?
Yeah.
Yes. What? Mick Foley will be at Hard Times too.
Okay,
Hardcore
Galli,
legend Mick Foley.
Who's the VIP people in the back that the VIP people get to see? It's Billy Corgan, some talent. Are you going to be one of them?
I'm always around. I'm not that hard.
No, I'm talking
not
about
that hard to find.
there's a VIP ticket that's selling for Hard Times too for $50. You get to choose your seat, and you get an hour and a half meet with talent and Billy Corgan in the back.
Well, I honestly don't know. And if history has taught me anything, though, with these VIP tickets, it's typically our NWA champions. And I would have to imagine that some of those legends should be available for that as well. I would bet Jazz would be back there. And Mick Foley, I mean, he's in the building. I can't see why he wouldn't do it.
Right.
I don't know for sure. But I will tell you this. With or without Mick Foley, that's a barn burner. That's a deal for that ticket. So I feel like we were probably already selling those tickets before Mick Foley was announced, because people love that VIP experience, and we love to have it too. I mean, just being able to have those interactions with fans, it's great.
I'll be there for that experience.
I think that interaction and that experience is actually what makes the fan a long-term fan.
Yes.
Because you give them that 5-second moment that they have that interaction with you, and it burnt. I mean, so when I was a kid, I remember meeting Hulk Hogan with my father. I mean, it's just those little things that transpires into, like you said, it could be the next NWA champion down the road. You never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah, it is great, and to have those opportunities with the NWA. And we know that you fans, that are, watching this podcast are so dedicated, and we want to reward that. And we want to give you that opportunity. And that's what we're there for. And it's great that we've got a position now that, things are getting better, COVID wise, and we can have those opportunities, and you can meet those people, and we can shake hands and feel comfortable doing it. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing all the folks there. And I mean, the card, I keep thinking about how much I'm going to have to talk. I'm going to have some tea and some lemon already ready to go, because that is going to be a lot of, and all the matches are going to be crazy, screaming my head off. And then we've got 2 days of NWA power tapings after that. So that's going to be something.
Yeah, no parties for you that night.
No. That's the other thing too. It being the lead commentator, I have to step back from that sort of stuff, because like this is my instrument, and if anything happens to this, like, it's rough. And we saw that with a few tapings ago, where my voice just blew out, and it's a struggle I will persevere through. But I can't go out and smoke a cigar and have some champagne. It's like, no. Maybe the last night, Monday night, maybe I'll hit the town. But other than that, see you guys. I'm going to my room. I'm going to bed.
That's funny. Did you do anything fun when you were in St. Louis?
Other than working it, no, to be honest with you. I didn't get to see the Arch. I didn't get to do all those things. We did have a lot of Emo's Pizza because they're our sponsor and they catered. So that was good. I did. It was good stuff. And
toasted
I don't know why
ravioli,
people,
Rose Street.
no, all I had was emos, and
Emos has toasted ravioli. They didn't give you any?
they did not. It was just a pizza, and I really never left the chase because there was so much that needed to be done and a lot of troubleshooting that needed to happen. But that being said, being stuck in the chase for 4 days is fine because it's a dope place to be.
Right.
But I'll have to come back and enjoy some of the finer things that you can enjoy at St. Louis and see the sights and do some cool stuff. I'm looking forward to it because I'd have to imagine that we'd be coming back at some point soon.
All right. So just got a phone call. It's Herb Simmons, our promoter, SICW promoter. He is on the phone. You
Okay.
say hi, Herb?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, Herb.
Can you guys hear him all right?
Yeah,
What got on here?
we got Joe Galli. He is actually the voice of the NWA. Bobby D, Big Tex, and you know me.
Yeah, I know who Joe Galli is. The rest of you guys can just be quiet because Joe's the one that needs to do all the talking, right? Now, hey Joe, it's good talking to you. I was glad you was able to join the guys in there tonight, and we're really looking forward to this venture with William Corrigan on December the 1st. There's been a lot of hard work put into it.
Well, we're looking forward to it too. I mean, and then anytime that you're going to have the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion come to your show, I mean that's a great thing, and it shows the level that you have your promotion, that you have your company, that you'll have the NWA, you'll have the 10 pounds of gold, you'll have all that history that comes with it there, and so I know you're excited for it. We're excited for it, and are there tickets still available? Are we sold out?
I didn't get a report today on it. Usually they give them to me at the end of the week, but I had some other issues to take care of today.
Well, we're going to put more seats in. If we're sold out, folks, you go ahead and you show up to the door and you bring yourself some cash money because we will get you into that venue. We will get you there to see history made.
Yeah.
We never turn anybody away. That's what I told the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame people. They called me and said, we're selling out of the tables, and we're going to have to take some of the chairs down. I said, do what you got to do. Just don't turn nobody away.
Oh, come on in. Enjoy the show.
That's right. Well, last show, 2 weeks ago, we did 1,673 people. What do you think about that?
Did you guys mention
to him great.
Jared Briscoe was going to be there also?
Oh, yeah, Jerry Briscoe, brother of NWA president and champion Jack Briscoe, signed with us to be there today, yeah.
That's fantastic. And, as far as the venue goes, and Herb, I know you're coming in late to the conversation here, but we were talking about just the red hot fever that people have for wrestling in all of its forms. And so that's really driving people to those independent shows. And we see it with the NWA. You folks will be coming in from St. Louis to see the show. We have people that come from, with the borders now reopening, it wouldn't surprise me that we would get people that would be coming from, Canada. Out of the country. Canada. We had a few Europeans that came to one of our first for Hard Times 1, I think. Or maybe it was the Crockett Cup, or maybe it was 70. I can't remember. It's all a blur. Like I said, concussions. But we had all kinds of people coming in, and that just shows the reach that the NWA has. But from a local level, people want to be entertained, and they want to see pro wrestling. They want to see good pro wrestling. And if you can have a promotion where you bring in some good talent and you have some great matches, I mean, selling close to 2,000 tickets, it honestly, if you would have told me that 5 years ago, I'd have been like, that's surprising. Wow. But now there's a fever for it. People want to do it. People want to be there. They want to be at those big marquee events. They want to see champions. They want to see the best in the world doing what they do. And so if you're making an opportunity for that and you're opening the door and especially in that area, I mean, that part of the country, there's a lot of diehard wrestling. Being over at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood in the Los Angeles area, there were times where it was very difficult for us to bring those fans in. I mean, this is pre AEW. This is pre, the NWA being what it is today. And it was a struggle to compete with stuff like Disneyland or all the millions of things that one can do in Southern California. So, but being where you guys are geographically, I think is an advantage, in the same way that it's an advantage for us to do tapings in Atlanta, which was the heart of professional wrestling for a long time, the heart of the NWA for a long time, at those Turner Studios, which are literally, down the street. When we're in the parking structure at GPB Studios, where the NWA arena is, you can see the mansion from the top floor. It's right there. So, I mean, it's not a stone's throw, but you could see it. And it's so being able to have that history and have everything that's going on, and to have people be really interested in pro wrestling and see all these cool things that are happening, I think that's a rising tide lifts all ships. It lifts your ship, it lifts the NWA ship. And and so I think that's the situation that we're in. And so it wouldn't surprise me if you guys have a sellout crowd.
And that's what we're riding on here. For 48 years I've been doing this, and the NWA was under Sam Muchnick, and the new Wrestling at the Chase book just came out. The film that's being made on it will be out early March or April. We've been advertising, so it's on the uphill incline, as we say, of the roller coaster ride, and then we just came off, a couple of weeks ago, the big 2-ring battle royal, and the Haku match against Attila Khan, the Rock and Roll Express, people like that. We had 11 of the legends on that, and now to bring in Trevor as the NWA champion with the title on the line, we hope to capitalize on all of that.
Yeah, and Attila Khan, I mean, what a tough customer. I mean, what incredible competition that you guys have there. I mean, that match is going to be great. And then here's the other thing too, is like, how crazy is it that you can book the Rock and Roll Express? I mean, these guys, they you would think, oh man, they're out of the game. It's been, they're old, whatever. But man, they're still going. It's crazy.
They're still good.
And they're having incredible. That was actually, honestly, I don't have a ranking for the best matches I've ever called. It'd be impossible for me to do that. But if I were to do it, Ricky Morton versus Nick Aldis for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship on an episode of Power, that was it's up there. It's in that top 10 for sure. For sure. I can't argue with that.
Well, and then, Joe, when you look at on the independent side, when we had a match like that with, the King Lawler on it, Haku, like I said, and, there was 11 of those guys on there, Sergeant Slaughter. So the fan, we have established ourselves as being the best in the Midwest. And with you guys, the NWA coming in and Billy's people, it's a good thing for him. Trevor's first title defense back here in the St. Louis area, because this area where this show's going to be at, we're in the hotbed of the fans back in the 60s, 70s, that's South St. Louis area.
Well, Herb, while we got you on the line, let me put you on the spot. Give me 3 NWA wrestlers that you would like to see at your promotion. Like, dream list, people we currently have that are in the NWA. Aside from Trevor Murdoch, give me 3 more that you think would help you sell some tickets and draw some folks.
Ion?
Well, yeah, I'd have to refer that to my what I call my roving reporter, the certified hustler. He's been keeping up here down to Kentucky Bar. He knows. I know Tim Starm. I've been talking to Tim. I'm going to get Tim in. Saranaro, yep. So who else? Hustler?
Marche Rocket.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love Marche Rocket. I love him. And, here's the thing. I don't think he's really got his due. Chicago-based guy, fantastic. He's got size. He's got skill. I mean, he is, like, right there in the conversation.
Very soon, Galli. He'll be in our ring very soon. I've been talking to him for 40 hours.
I'm happy to hear that. I love Marche Rocket. And you know what? I tell you what, we'll give you the super friends of Sal and Tim. I'll give them as a tag team because they've done that before here. So that's that. And then you get Marche Rocket. Give me one more. Give me who else do you want to book?
I want Mike Knox.
No, Scion.
There you go.
Oh, no, but real NWA people, Scion.
No, that's a good call. That's a good call. I mean, Scion are really a homegrown talent. I mean, especially
Harley
since,
Harley race train fighter.
yeah. So and maybe he'll be the television champion by the next time you're able to book him. So
He said, yeah, when I said Scion was trained by Harley. Ain't nobody supposed to know that, Joe.
well, I think a lot of people were trained by Harley Race. It is a safe bet that there is a potential that he either went to the school or attended a seminar. He is of the right age to where it would be foolish for him to be in the sport of professional wrestling if he had the opportunity.
Galli, I was sitting front row by any means necessary. Scion stole the night.
Yeah. Yeah. Hard to argue with that. It's hard to argue with that.
The other guy we're gonna have show up on the first is the Ace Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. will be there.
Ooh, that's good.
He runs our training academy for me, so he'll be there along, like I said, with Jerry Briscoe and one of our former SICW champions, Ron Powers, will be there helping with the induction of Sam Muchnick, Larry Matisek, and Mickey Garagiola. So that'll be a great night.
We have Miranda Gordy on our roster too, Joe.
Oh, I love Miranda. I love her. She's fantastic. And what a powerhouse she is.
She's going to be taking on Malaya Osaka.
All right. Well, I tell you what, guys. I mean, that's a fantastic show you have on December 1st. And if anybody goes to that show and they really like what they see, I highly encourage them to go to Fight TV and get the pay-per-view for Hard Times 2, because they're really going to enjoy that show as well. And it wouldn't surprise me, too. You know, I mean, we talk about how loyal our fans are with the NWA and with the independent wrestling scene. We see a lot of that. I mean, we've got, thousands of people from all over the world that are, subscribed, but we get so much more for our pay-per-views. And I feel like if I took a straw poll from all the folks that come out to your event on the 1st, I would venture to guess a big chunk of them had already pre-ordered Hard Times 2 for the pay-per-view. So it's great that, that all these worlds come together.
Absolutely. It's an NWA town.
We talk about it at the show. We're an NWA town, dude. Joe, we're an NWA town. Like St. Louis is.
I don't disagree. I was there for Empower 73. I know how much of a town you guys are for. Yeah, you got some red hot fans there too, and we were talking about that before.
I'm gonna put you on a spot. Which 3 wrestlers out of our organization, Herb Simmons territory, St. Louis territory, that belongs to Herb Simmons? Which 3 you got that, didn't you, Joe? Which 3 wrestlers? Which 3 wrestlers would you choose from our organization to go into the NWA to wrestle?
You're really putting him on the spot though, because he might not.
Can I get Attila Khan 3 times? Can I get 3 Attila Khans?
You can.
Like that would work for me.
Superstar Steve Fender. I think you need to look at Big Texas, Bobby D, the Professionals, and Niles Planquet. Those are just some guys off the top of my head. That's
so
Miranda.
Let me ask you this. Since we're here and we're talking about it, I have not had the pleasure of being able to witness one of your shows. Is there any sort of way that I could be able to see that from San Antonio? Are you guys streaming somewhere? Like,
if you just want to watch the regular Sunday morning TV that you were used to watching as a kid, real professional wrestling taped every Sunday, 8 p.m. Central Time on Hannibal TV, give or take some time, or you could watch it on SICW Explosion YouTube page, 8 p.m. Central Time every Sunday.
Well, see, now I know. Now I've got appointment viewing.
Hey, Jackson, if you would get the information, and we'll just send him copies of those tapes, and you can look at them.
No problem.
Hey, I will send you the copies of the tapes, Joe.
I like that. Fantastic. And look forward to watching them.
Also, we're getting ready. I'm not going to break no news or nothing yet, but our boss who's on the phone, he'll tell me to stop if he wants me to, but he's in talks right now to get us on some cable and satellite stuff. So we're getting ready to get our TV deal.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that's something that a lot of places are geared towards. And it really shows, like, when you've got these networks out there that want to invest in pro wrestling and to have that content on their airwaves. There's a lot of people out there, and as a broadcaster and been a part of television for over a decade now, a lot of people are like, oh, television's dead. It's all, on the web. And it's really not. It's really not. People want to watch TV. They want to see this stuff on their cable station. They don't mind paying for cable if they know what they're going to get, and they're able to DVR it, and they're able to watch it whenever they want. And it really kind of opens the door for a lot of people to get that level of exposure. And I mean, you don't have to look very far to see where it's successful. Like, for instance, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood has run on KDOC, which is the ABC affiliate in Los Angeles, for a number of years now. And that's not cable, but it's also, a major station in a major market. And that's enough for Dave Marquez to be profitable with that particular venture. So you can get that out there, and it really opens the door. And now there's just so much. There's so much availability. When I call matches for RCW here in San Antonio, it's on a streaming platform called Title Match, and they get thousands of viewers from all over the world. And I know they do, not only because I see the numbers, but also, like, as soon as I'm done calling the action for that show, I take a look at my phone, and all of a sudden I've got 20 more Twitter followers, and they're from all over the world. So it's crazy that we've opened that door for people there. Of course, NWA is on Fight TV. And then you've got all these other different outlets between YouTube and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, I mean, television's where you're going to make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And so if you really want, that's where you got to go.
What we do, Joe, is we do the tapings. We tape every fourth week, leading back up to our house show, just like they did back in the day. So it gets our storylines over, and so in fact, like last Sunday, we just finished up another 4 weeks of taping, and plus I've got over 1,000 episodes in the can from back when we were on TV before. I've got all the old St. Louis wrestling tapes, and plus I acquired the Dick the Bruiser's TV library. So I've got hours and hours of footage to put out there. I just got to find the time to do all of
it. And there's people that want to see it. I think that's the other thing too. Is like people really want to see it.
Vintage stuff, yeah.
And
Joe,
having that
with that 500 episodes that I got, what we did on every Sunday afternoon when we were on at 12 o'clock, we would mix the current stuff that we were taping, and then we'd filter in one of those classics. So today you may have, back then it was the Texan against the Bobby D, but then the next match it would be Ric Flair against Dick the Bruiser out of St. Louis. So you were catching the entire demographics that you were targeting, and the people loved it. It kept their interest. They got to see the newcomers that was coming up, plus they got to see the classic matches also.
It's a great business plan, and I mean it's something that really reflects well, and something similar that you see with the National Wrestling Alliance, because we have this incredible archive, and even though we are on Fight TV as a subscription service, our YouTube channel, as we've started to reintroduce content on that, it's doing incredibly well, and we've got so much vintage content and I guess you could call it semi-vintage content from just a few years ago, and all of that goes up, and it gets thousands and thousands of views and shares, and people talk about it because a lot of people missed it. Some people are just getting on the bandwagon now, and now they're seeing some great stuff from, like, call it our Crockett Cup or NWA 70, or maybe an old Power taping from our first season. So it's great, and it opens the door, and it's crazy to me that people find the time to watch so much wrestling. There's just so much out there. And with all these different platforms, like, I'm also a full-time broadcast journalist here in San Antonio. It's like I'd have to retire from that just to be able to watch all the wrestling I want to watch.
Right. Well, that's what I told Billy when him and I was talking about the St. Louis tapes, that if I was Vince and had all the library that he's got, he ought to be doing what we did. And instead of sitting on it, he should have been filtering some of that old stuff in with his current stuff, and maybe his numbers would be better,
Yeah.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I appreciate it, Joe. I appreciate you joining the guys tonight. Hustler, I appreciate what you're doing, and Bobby and Texan. I appreciate everything, and I'll be talking to you guys over the weekend.
Hey, thank you for calling
Nice
in.
talking to you, Joe. Thanks.
See you, Herb.
You appreciate me, boss?
Hi, Herb. I like how I waved to him, even though he obviously couldn't see me do that. I was
Hey,
like,
look, see it.
We'll go back and watch.
You forgot I was here.
Well, that was awesome. I appreciate you plugging everything too. So
well,
help
of course,
plug
you
our
know.
show, we plug your show.
We're
Appreciate
just
that.
having a conversation. It's not about plugs. It's just about talking about what we care about. And we care that people come and see these shows. I mean, at the end of the day, of course, you know, it's a business, but we also want people, like I said before, we want people to bring their kids and we want them to make memories. And
Right.
and that's really the ultimate payback. You see that sparkle in someone's eye when something is just, the switch has been flipped in their brain and they realize that they love pro wrestling. And you love pro wrestling too. And it makes me happy. And that's my goal right now. I just want to make people happy.
Do you see Trevor Murdoch as a champion for the long haul, or do you see him Dusty Rhodes in the strap, meaning one and done?
Well, see, here's the thing. I don't want to step on what's happening, you know, with your particular show and just say, oh, Trevor Murdoch's going to kick his butt. But at the end of the day, you know, you look at Trevor Murdoch, and I could see him being a longtime champion in the NWA. He's going to be champion as long as he wants to be champion. And there might be someone who rises to the occasion, but I don't see him as, you know, people say transitional or whatever. I mean, he's Trevor Murdoch. We've seen it time and time again. He will face adversity. He will be as tough as nails. And anyone who's going up against him is going to have an uphill battle. And so whether that's Khan or whether that's Knox or whether that's whoever, Aldis or who else has it? Jax Dane also has an opportunity at the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, something that he has held before. You know, you could see that, but I wouldn't put it past him. And here's the other thing too. I wonder if you would have asked me that question about Nick Aldis before he held on to that championship for more than 1,000 days, 1,049 days. Do you think anybody would have said, "Oh, Nick, he'll probably drop the strap 63 days or something"? You know, and no. I mean, he held on to it for 1,000 days. Will Trevor Murdoch have that same reign?
Only because Trevor took so long to defend it for the first time is why I'm saying that. Look, I cheered for. Go look at the tapes. I'm the dude that's like, St. Louis loves you. I love you, Trevor. You hear me, Joe? You know I start the chants and I'm always blowing kisses to Velvet and stuff like that. But but not really. She gives me hugs and stuff. She's a nice lady. But Trevor, I don't know. I didn't say it about Nick because I believe I just got a certain feeling about Trevor. Like, is he hiding some insecurities or something, or do you think everything's there? Like, why he takes so long to defend that belt for the first time?
Well, it certainly didn't equate to any lack of action. I mean, people who watch NWA Power see that he has had matches. I mean, he had tag matches with Nick against Strictly Business, so he's not afraid of competition as well. And you also have to keep in mind, it's in the best interest of the promoter to make sure people pay for the title match. Why would you give it away for free? You know, that's a peek behind the curtain for a lot of people. We want to make sure that we're not having a pay-per-view, you know, every week. You're having a pay-per-view every quarter. So from a business perspective, you want to make sure that they're doing that. And if Trevor Murdoch is going to go and defend that championship, you know, with you folks, or Camille's going to defend her championship in other places, or et cetera, you need to make sure that the payday is there for it. You got to build a hype for it. And that's what we're doing right now with Hard Times 2. There's an incredible, especially today with the full card being released, breaking news, major announcements, you know, Medusa has gone to social media that she's going to be there for our next series of tapings. So I'm not exactly sure what role she's going to play, if she's going to join us on the commentary table or if she's going to be doing in-ring action or whatever she's planning on doing, but Medusa's going to be there too. So
maybe she'll save her voice a little bit for you.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with that. honestly, that's one of the benefits of having Austin Idol on commentary is I get to say, welcome to the program. And then he just goes and I can just sit and watch Velvet get mad. That's all I do.
That is great. So I'm going to put you on the spot, and I hate to do it. We've got 6 Attila Khans and 0 Trevor Murdochs for the first. Well, who's going to win? Who's going to walk out champ on the first from St. Louis?
Like I said earlier on in the podcast, you should never bet against the champ. And I think I even said that before the match at 73, where Trevor Murdoch became the champion. You can't bet against. You couldn't bet against Nick Aldis. You can't bet against, because they've already done it. They've won the championship. They know what it's like to be in that spot, and having that level of experience, you're at the top of the mountain. That's it. That's where you want to be, and that's where you want to fight from. And so you always want to have that position. You have the high ground, whether that's from, a literal sense or from a metaphorical, spiritual, mental sense. You want to have that high ground. And so he has that. He walks in with the strap. He walks in with the 10 pounds of gold. He walks in as the champion. And I think it makes it easier to walk out as the champion.
Okay.
Well, there's some benefits of being a champion then, the the DQ clause, the count out clause. I mean, so he does have a little edge.
The champion's advantage.
Yeah. What I'm hoping for is when it comes to December 1st, he's thinking about December 4th and Attila screws him up, or he's thinking about Attila Khan and Mike Knox screws him up. That's what I'm going for.
That's entirely possible. And I feel like if I were doing commentary for your show, maybe that's something that I would bring up is, you have that schedule when it comes to that. And you have to keep in mind all these different challengers. And especially being the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, you have to think that there's always a giant target on your back. That's the burden you bear as the champion of any sport. It doesn't matter if you're Trevor Murdoch or if you're Tom Brady or if you're the world heavyweight boxing champion or if you're Simone Biles at the Olympics. There's being the best in the world, you have that target on your back.
Right. So I'm excited about this. Are you excited about the SICW NWA partnership?
Of course. I'm excited for any of our partnerships that involve quality organizations where people are going to come and enjoy professional wrestling. So you guys having Trevor Murdoch, the top champion, the world's heavyweight champion there, it says a lot. And I think that that's going to, give a lot of those St. Louis fans, those same fans that came out and watched him win the championship, they're going to go see him fight to defend it again. And that may have been without your promotion, there wouldn't be another chance. They might not get another chance to do that because maybe it's not in the cards for them to travel to a place like Atlanta or any of the other places that we might take our show or do big shows or do pay-per-views or go to Oak Grove, Kentucky for By Any Means Necessary or something like that, So
there was nothing to do there.
Yeah, there really wasn't anything to do.
It was drive from field to field. But anyway.
Yeah.
There's a wrestling show to go to.
The venue was nice.
Clarksville, I was like, to do nothing.
We can't do everything, all right? We could just have the show.
Well, but do absolutely nothing. And then I was the guy, Joe, I don't know if you knew this, I was the guy that showed up the day before. And I dude text and I showed up the day early, remember? I had to get a hotel room again. Yeah, I showed up the day before, and I was videotaping Aldis and Sauronaro and all them guys from their cars, like TMZ. You didn't see all those on YouTube?
Not yet.
That was
but okay. I don't know
out.
If that was intentional or not. You were just giving yourself something to do.
Yeah.
There was nothing else.
You were bored, so you might as well be.
Nobody was there to buy Wrestling to Chase books, so I'm like, shit, I'm going to be TMZ.
Well, it's been an hour and a half. It's been a great podcast, and I'm sure we can talk wrestling all night long. But I think we should call it. I think we've
One thing, Galli, give out all your social media to the people real quick.
Sure, you can follow me on Twitter at Joe Galli News. You could also find me on Instagram at Joe Galli, also on TikTok at Joe Galli. You guys TikTok? You guys TikTokers?
I'm
Yes,
a
sir.
TikTok.
Got the do the
watch
dances, the TikTok dances. I watch more than I post too. But all of that there, and of course you can always catch the National Wrestling Alliance every week, Tuesday, 6:05 on Fight TV. Get your subscription and also pre-order the pay-per-view now. Hard Times 2, December 4th. The incredible card out there. Once again, head to social media, find the National Wrestling Alliance. The card's so long, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's just too much. But, I mean, we're going to make history again at our home turf at the NWA Arena in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. You want to be a part of history, where that means you can be there in person. Tickets are still on sale. Or if you want to watch from the comfort of your own home, either way, I just hope you really come out and you really enjoy what we're having at Hard Times 2.
How many tickets are for sale for there? Because I saw there wasn't many left.
Probably
I
not.
think the arena holds about 300.
Yeah,
So
buddy.
it's going to be tight. So it's going to be that's a little flexible, especially now. I think we can add more chairs to it. So go to nwatix.com. That's nwatix.com, and you can find all the tickets that are available there, not only for Hard Times 2, but also for our brand new show that'll be shooting the day before, and also for our NWA Power tapings that'll be the 2 days after, Sunday and Monday.
And if you buy the $90 ticket, it's a 4-day pass, folks. The $90 ticket includes the VIP, the new show, Hard Times 2, and the 2 days of taping. They have a $50 ticket that gives you the VIP, and you get to choose your seat before anybody else. Or they have the general admission ticket for $36, and that ticket, you get to sit wherever there's seats left after everybody else that bought the expensive tickets bought.
Hey, I just want to chime in. Did you say $90 for all of that?
Yeah,
Because
everything.
$90 won't even get you like a WWE ticket nowadays.
No, it's $69.99 plus tax for the Royal Rumble all the way at top. It comes up to 93 something.
There you go. So you got 4 days that you can go to the NWA for 1 day.
The new show is worth it by itself for $90. I want to see what that is. They won't tell us what it is yet.
Surprises.
Right. I can't wait for it. And I'm very excited, Joe. I will be seeing you at Hard Times 2. Big Tex, I have a feeling we'll be seeing you at Hard Times 2. We're going to give you a bunch of footage that you could go through that the boss was talking about, okay?
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
Are you an old-time wrestling collector? Do you collect pictures and posters?
No, man, I never do that. I don't even collect the stuff that we do. Like, I only have like one of these shirts, It's just not.
Wow.
It's not like, yeah, I know, right? I really need to catch up. I feel bad. Like, I was like, oh, it'd be great if I had a Crockett Cup shirt. I'm like, no, I don't have one. I wish I did.
They go for about $300 or $400. Those Crockett shirts you guys had, go on eBay. They go for $300 or $400.
Now I really wish I had one.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. All right, guys.
To you, this was the greatest guest I've had on this show since the inception. We appreciate you so much. We are so stoked. We owe you. We owe Dr. Simpson. We owe Gary Horn. We owe William Patrick Kennedy. William Patrick Kennedy. William Patrick. He's running for president. He changed his name to William Patrick on me. It was easier with Billy Corgan. And so, we especially thank Big Tex and Herb Simmons, Bobby D. These gentlemen will be on that card. I'll be running around the ring, videotaping everything. It's a pleasure. And thank you so much to anybody that's involved with the NWA for giving us this opportunity. We're not going to let you down. And we plan on showing up in full force on the 1st with that strap in our hands, taking on Mike Knox. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you. That was fun.
Bobby?